Hello, my name is Clayton Cottle, and I'm the president of the MBA Student Association. We're the Sam Houston State University College of Business Administration's graduate student org, and we're committed to building networks and building careers. Welcome to our first installment of our 2020 engagement series for the fall. Today, we'll be having a discussion with the dean and the advisor. Before we begin, I want to encourage you all to follow us on social media so you can stay up to date with all of our events and the news. We have a number of events planned this season. We encourage your participation. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie Dietrich. I'm the Relations Officer for the MBA Student Association. And today I have the honor and privilege to introduce and interview our Dean of the College of Business Administration, Dr. Muehsam, and our Business Graduate Program Advisor, Mr. Rick Thaler. Dr. Muehsam, would you like to say a few words?
I would, Jamie, and thank you very much. Let me also thank Clayton for taking the initiative to create this programming. One of the great values of being in an MBA program is the networking that you create and generate, and this is the first step along those lines and along that path. I'm Muehsam. I have the great pleasure and honor of serving as the Dean of the College of Business Administration. I'm just starting my 12th year in that role. Prior to that, at the university, I served as the university's initial graduate dean, which also came with the title of Associate Vice President. And I also started my administrative role as the Associate Dean of the College of Business Administration, to include being the MBA Director. It has been a source of great pride and satisfaction to be involved with these programs as we help people develop their professional careers. And I look forward to your success in the years to come. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Clayton.
Thank you, Dr. Muehsam. Rick, would you also like to say a few words?
You bet. Thank you, Jamie. I'm Rick Thaler. I am the Associate Director for Graduate Studies and Distance Learning within the College of Business Administration. I've been in this position now for 7 years. Prior to that, I concluded a career in state government after 33 years of service. During that time, I was able to come to Sam Houston State University, complete my Bachelor of Business Administration, and ultimately in 2003, I returned and was successful in completing the Master's of Business Administration. My role as the advisor here within the College of Business Administration is to assist students as they work through their coursework scheduling, to help them with any administrative issues that they might have, and to be available to them to identify resources that might assist in the program.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick. And thank you both for taking the time out of your busy schedules to participate in our first fall MBA Student Association virtual event, Get to Know Your Dean and Advisor. So let's get started with some questions. And Dr. Muehsam, we're going to direct this to you. Tell us what you think distinguishes Sam Houston's business graduate program, and are there any awards or recognitions the college has received that best illustrates the prestige of the program?
Well, thank you for that question, Jamie. So much of an academic career is what you, the student, makes of it. We have a spectacular faculty and staff with great credentials and great enthusiasm and passion, and their role is to help you learn. but ultimately what you get from the program is what you put into the program. And towards that end, what we have that distinguishes us are several things. One, we pride ourselves on having access to our faculty. They're there to help you. They want you to reach out. They want you to challenge them to challenge you. They want you to ask questions. They want you to talk and be mentors to you for your professional career. But it is incumbent upon you, the student, to reach out and get to know the faculty, which is one reason I'm so proud of Clayton and Jamie for putting this program together to help break down any barriers that you may feel exist that keep you from doing so. Another thing that we do is we keep our class sizes very reasonable. They're going to range from the mid-teens to the low 30s. Occasionally, such as this semester, when with the pandemic, with the increased demand for graduate studies during economic downturns, we had a few very large classes by our standards. But compared to the industry norm, we are much smaller than the industry norm, which gives you access to your classmates and access to your faculty. The other thing that we do that is fairly unique, with the move towards online programs nationwide, so much has been left to the faculty to develop the technological background and course shells across the country. At Sam Houston State University, we have a different model. Through SHSU Online, we have embedded within our college an instructional designer. So we have a professional graphic designer, instructional designer housed within our college that help our faculty create the shell and organize the course in the creation. So there's a commonality, so it makes it easier for you, the student, to learn. And we have been recognized for that in many ways. I had the pleasure of serving as an officer of the Southern Business Administration Association, which is a regional organization of business deans throughout the South. And in that position, I've been able to invite the head of our SHSU online program, Dr. Bill Angrove, to present to deans across the country about how Sam Houston State University organizes its online courses. And as a result, we get calls consistently from deans across the South on how we organize our courses and how other institutions can improve their online programs. There are many, many ranking organizations that exist, and we have been recognized by many of them, just to list a few. And you'll get different rankings depending on how the organizations define their metrics. As you know, as MBA students, as Masters of Science and Project Management students, as Masters of Science and Accounting students, the metrics you use are going to impact how you analyze and assess your success. For example, we are rated #1 for online MBAs in Texas by Online MBA Today, #8 by MBA Central for online programs in Texas, #4 for online MBA programs in Texas by College Choice. So lots of well-deserved recognitions, but the true key to our success is what the students do and how they interact with the faculty and build their success now and into the future.
Wow, that's really great. Thank you for sharing that. Rick, we're going to shift over to you for just a moment. So a moment ago, you said that you received your MBA from Sam Houston some years ago. So can you tell us about how receiving your MBA from Sam Houston benefited your career?
I sure can. As I mentioned earlier, I was in state government for a number of decades. After 20 years of service in state government, I felt the need to expand my academic knowledge. So I was fortunate enough to be accepted into the MBA program back in 2002. At the time, I had reached a fairly high-level position within my agency. And the MBA served the purpose that I felt it was intended to serve for me. And that's that it gave me the academic knowledge that I needed to assist me in making those executive level decisions on a daily basis. At the time, because of the executive level that I had reached within the organization, I was dealing with more and more budgetary issues. So I focused in finance as I went through my MBA program. But that knowledge that I received made those decisions easier for me to make day in and day out, simply by giving me that additional information that helped me make those evaluations. And secondly, I truly believe to this day that that additional academic knowledge that I received assisted me in my continued advancement within that agency. And as I speak with students, those are two of the primary factors that MBA provides to you. One is that opportunity to receive additional academic knowledge to assist you in making executive level decisions in organizations. And the good thing about the MBA program is it's applicable across career fields. It's not career specific. And secondly, it makes you more competitive out there in your organization or as you compete for positions in other organizations.
Great. And I think on behalf of our MBA student body, I just want to thank you because you've been such a help, and I couldn't ask for a better advisor, me personally anyway. So thank you for that. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much.
So this next question can actually be directed at either of you. I'll let you choose, or you both can choose to say a few words. But tell us a little bit about the diversity in the program, and specifically what types of graduate students are in our program currently.
Well, let me start with that, and then I'll turn it over to Rick, because as the advisor, he has the pleasure of getting to know more of you on a one-on-one basis. So if you look at our graduate programs, we're going to have a range of students based upon a variety of factors. One will be experience. We're going to have students who finish their baccalaureate degree and go straight into the MBA program, to students who are working professionals with decades of experience who are looking to enhance and build upon their skills and open doors for them. We're going to have students geographically from the immediate region, from the Huntsville area, from the Houston area, from Dallas-Fort Worth, expanding out across Texas to Austin, San Antonio, and then we'll have students from around the country and around the world, but in smaller proportions as you do that. So diversity in experience and diversity in geography. And then diversity as to what you're hoping to get from the degree. We're going to have students who are getting the degree to open doors for new career paths. We're going to have students in the program who are looking to enhance their credentials for advancement within their own professional organization. So there's a great diversity of students in a variety of metrics. I'm going to turn it over to Rick if he wants to add anything to that.
I think that was an excellent answer there, Dean. I think you covered just about every element. All I can say is that the Dean is correct, and that we have a diverse group of individuals that come through the program. I'm fortunate enough to be able to provide them a little assistance as they come through the program. They come from varied backgrounds. They come from varied academic disciplines as they choose the variety of programs that we offer here at San Diego State University. But I think the Dean covered the key points. All I can cover is I'm excited to work with those working professionals from all backgrounds as they come through the program here at San Diego State.
And if I may add something to that, because of the diversity of our students, it creates a rare opportunity for our students to learn from each other. As Rick mentioned, we have people coming from a variety of different institutions, from a variety of academic backgrounds. So you have those students who had undergraduate experience in the business program, to students coming from the arts, from the humanities, from the sciences, which means they bring in unique ways of thinking and unique professional experiences. Something I would encourage all of our students to do is get to know your classmates, learn about their professional experiences, learn about their aspirations, learn about their perspectives, and you can add that to your list of knowledge, and then you can use that as you go through your career, because you're going to work with people from various backgrounds and various ways of thinking. So please take advantage of your classmates as a great resource.
Great. And speaking of resources, we're actually going to move on and talk a little bit about the resources available to our students. Rick, I'm going to direct this to you. Based on the answer that you guys both just gave, we have a wide variety of students in the program, from recent graduates all the way to tenured professionals. What are your tips for incoming students to keep in mind as they navigate through the program?
I would cover a couple of things. To optimize your experience in the program, I think what is key is that you focus on being committed to the program. And when I say committed, I mean not committed just to making it through the program, but committed to maximizing your knowledge as you proceed through the program. Because that knowledge base is what's going to support you for years to come. And secondly, I would encourage them to take advantage of the networking opportunities that we have here at San Diego State University with faculty, staff, fellow students, and alumni. I would encourage them to do that by being active members in organizations such as the MBA Student Association and others. I would also encourage them to attend those events held by those organizations or events held by the College of Business Administration that gives an opportunity for us to network with our fellow students, to meet our faculty face-to-face in many cases for the first time, and to, in some cases, meet our alumni and talk about their careers and their career objectives.
Perfect. Dr. Muehsam, we're going to transition back to you for the next couple of questions just to prepare you. Our first one is, what are some characteristics that you see in high-performing students?
That is a great question, and I would think there are several characteristics that are common across the most successful students. And I'm going to list these in no specific order. One of the big ones is time management. So many of our students have many things that demand their time. They are students, of course, they're working professionals, they have a family, and each and every one of those aspects are very important and deserve their attention. So how you balance your time and get the most out of the time you put into the coursework, into networking with your classmates is extremely important. And then discipline. Online education is very different than face-to-face education. In many ways, it can be richer, and at the same time, it loses other aspects. You can make up for the aspects of the non-face-to-face with how well you decide to involve yourself in getting to know your classmates. But having the discipline to attack your problems, to address your issues, to address your studies, to ask questions, allows you to be very successful. And this next point is, I think, may be the most important. As students, sometimes we become seduced by the pursuit of a high grade. I would argue that you should seek knowledge, not grades. With knowledge comes good grades. With good grades, the knowledge may or may not come because you may put things in short-term memory. Keep in mind that one of the purposes of an MBA is to expand your knowledge of the theoretical foundations upon which business builds itself. And those foundations are not going to change in a disruptive cycle, but how you apply that theory changes dramatically. And if you have the knowledge, you'll be able to adjust that knowledge as you go forward. So those people more concerned about learning than about grades will have a greater long-term success. And finally, be engaged. Be engaged in your class, be engaged with your classmates, be engaged with your faculty members. And if you have a combination of those attributes, you're going to be successful. You're going to learn what you're capable of accomplishing. Yes, you may go through some difficult times because of the demands on your time, but you will succeed if you manage your time, you have discipline, if you're engaged, and you seek knowledge.
Really good advice, Dr. Muehsam. I like that. The part about the grades specifically, I think that's something I may need to work on a bit. So many of our students are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. Are there any specific recommendations you have for them, or are there any resources the university offers to assist entrepreneurs?
Keep in mind that the phrase entrepreneur can have both a narrow and broad interpretation and definition. A very narrow definition is someone creating their own business and building their own business. But there is something called entrepreneurship, where you're using the concepts and the foundations of entrepreneurship within your professional organization. And so there's a wealth of resources available, and I'm becoming a little bit redundant in my answer here, but first and foremost, engage with your faculty. We have many faculty members who have been and are entrepreneurs now. They own businesses, they have built businesses, they have sold businesses, they've created new techniques within an organization, they have helped organizations grow. So get to know your faculty members, engage in conversations with them, ask them about their career, ask them about what they're most proud of with respect to their accomplishments, ask them to share some thoughts on how they might mentor you to be the best that you can become. The key is reaching out, and also we have so many students in our program who have entrepreneurship experience. And so the more you interact, the more you're going to discover about what resources and what personalities and what experiences the people around you have, and you can learn from those and share your experiences, so it's not just a one-way street. But the key thing is be engaged, ask a lot of questions. We do have student organizations that relate to entrepreneurship, whether it be CEO or whether it be other organizations that talk about building. I know many people in our graduate programs do not have the time to get involved with the student organization beyond the MBA Student Association. Please be involved with the MBA Student Association. But if you have the time, reach out to some of our other organizations and be involved.
Great. Well, I'm going to shift gears again, and let's talk a little bit about networking and growing. Rick, I'm going to direct this question to you. On the topic of professionalism, what are common mistakes you notice students making, and what tips do you have to offer for improvement?
professionalism is key and dear to my heart, in the sense that I was fortunate enough to be an executive in a organization for many years. And I saw many young professionals that made one mistake. And I think that's that they did not realize that professionalism is a full-time job. There are no days off. How you present yourself to others each and every day identifies to them your standards for the work environment and for life in general. So it's important to remember that. Our MBA students are industry leaders, or surely industry leaders of tomorrow. I think that I emphasize to them that they have to realize that their coworkers and their staff watch their actions and inactions every day. And I think it's important for you to also remember that if one chooses at any time to take one day off from those professional standards, unfortunately, that's the day that many of our staff and coworkers are going to remember. So as difficult as it is, to be a professional means to be a professional full-time. It cannot be a part-time position.
Great. Dr. Muehsam, I'm going to direct the same question to you, but instead of professionalism, tell us about common mistakes made in business etiquette.
And I'm going to use a very broad definition of business etiquette there, and somewhat parallel what Rick just talked about, because he hit the nail on the head about being professional each and every day. I'm going to give a couple thoughts. One, you must hold yourself to a high standard. You cannot demand much of others and little of yourself. That double standard will come back to haunt you. Two, you need to treat yourself and those around you with the utmost respect. Respect goes a long way. And remember that in an organization, we is more important than me. And so when you talk about business etiquette, when you talk about professionalism, you want to help the organization succeed. It cannot be I, but is what can I do to help us as a team, us as an organization succeed. So holding yourself to a high standard, treating people with respect, owning up to your mistakes and being accountable. We all make mistakes. We're all human. How do we learn from those mistakes? How do we try to make them right? And if we can't make them right, how do we learn not to repeat those mistakes? How do we help others around us succeed? How do we help others around us to become better professionals? And if you do that and you're willing to learn from others, that business etiquette of being part of a team, part of an organization, benefits us all.
Great. I'm going to shift our topic one final time, and we're going to move to the topic of COVID-19, as we've all been living this for quite some time now. Dr. Muehsam, I'll start with you. Many business schools go to great lengths to talk about the ability to disrupt industries. How has COVID-19 changed the thinking of a disruption in an industry?
You know, Jamie, I'm not sure it changes the thinking per se, so much more as focusing in on learning how to deal with stress and find those silver linings. Clearly, COVID was a disruption to the world that was completely unexpected. Clearly, COVID has forced many industries to completely change their operating processes. Clearly, COVID has created a situation where you had to operate under a constantly changing evolution of demands and findings and parameters. But what it has taught us about dealing with disruptions is searching for silver linings. How do we then pull from those silver linings and implement them without adding to the stress within our organization? So I don't know if it has changed the thinking of a disruption, but it's already highlighted the potential benefits and disasters that can occur within that disruption. Think about how many new businesses have been created with COVID-19. Think how many people have created masks overnight. Think about how many people have talked away how we can conduct more business online via distance overnight. So it has created a wide variety of opportunities. And unfortunately, as with many disruptions, as many disruptions, some businesses have lost and they no longer exist. But others have been created and others have reshaped themselves. So I would argue that it hasn't necessarily change the thinking of a disruption, but focus on the power and potential of disruptions in both a positive and negative aspect.
I really like that. Thank you for the inspiring words. It's so nice to hear positivity during this time. I think everyone can appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and move to our final question. It's going to be directed at you both, so you could choose who wants to answer first. Our parents' generations, we can agree, was a lot different than today's generation. And getting an MBA was a surefire way to receive a promotion or land a job. I think we can all say that their generation graduated into an entirely different world, entirely different business models than we see today. So today, it seems new business models are appearing overnight, are unconventional and disrupt decades of tradition. COVID-19 has underlined this shift. So with all of that in mind, what value do you believe an MBA provides students in the post-COVID era?
I guess I will go ahead and start out this question. I truly believe that although the environment is constantly evolving and changing, that the value of knowledge is not. So I think as a student goes through an MBA program, it's key for them to remember that. To me, the value of an MBA is not rooted in the diploma that is received, but in the knowledge that is gained and the experiences that the student has as they progress through the program. Because it's that knowledge and those experiences that are going to make our students more valuable to employers and more successful in their personal careers and in life.
And if I may follow up, Rick is 100% accurate in the value of what you're learning. Education may be the best gift that exists in this world. But let me expand upon what Rick just said and talk about some things you get from a graduate degree that you may not recognize initially. One, a graduate degree is going to challenge you and challenge you to view what you're capable of accomplishing. You're going to develop friendships that should last for decades. It's going to build confidence in your abilities, and you're going to recognize that you can accomplish more than you ever realized. And hopefully it's going to give you the ability that you've learned how to connect things and see the big picture, that we live in a system. And it's not just one aspect of business or one aspect of organization, but how they connect. And what a graduate degree should offer you post-COVID is the leaders of the future in the post-COVID world are those who are going to recognize opportunities and be those who that can communicate with their colleagues so that they have confidence in their leaders. It's going to be those that are adaptable and can recognize that, yes, I need to hold on to this aspect of what we've done in the past, this part of these other aspects, and bring in new aspects. And be willing to experiment. Don't be afraid of failure. And more importantly, don't be afraid of success. It's been my experience that fear of success holds more people back because with success comes more responsibility for others. And your ability in yourself going through a graduate program should build the confidence in yourself that you can be that leader who can handle success and learn from failure. And I think that's what a graduate degree gives you in the post-COVID world.
If y'all don't mind, I think I'll jump in here. I think this is a great place to wrap up the conversation. The reason I think that is for our November event, we're actually going to host an entire panel on this very topic, the value of an MBA in the post-COVID era. I want to thank both the Dean and Rick for participating in today's discussion and for all the excellent advice that they've provided to us. Also, thank you, Jamie, for being an excellent host. A final thank you to the MBA Student Association's Vice President, Jonathan Kinsey. He's handling all the technical elements for today's recording. Again, the MBA Student Association is committed to bringing this engaging content to our student body. And if you have any ideas, please reach out to us. Please follow our social media where we'll be posting all of our upcoming events and our November panelists. If you're interested in joining, you can reach out via email or social media. And thank you for attending today's discussion.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Clayton. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
You guys were great. We appreciate you so much.